Hello and welcome to my channel, Super Sam 7, and another comic book review. Fantastic Four issue 4 has the return of the Submariner after 8 years. This comic released February 8th, 1962 with a cover date of May 1962. This comic can be seen as issue 5 in a long reading order of the whole main Earth 616 Marvel Universe. This issue was written by Stan Lee, penciled by Jack Kirby, inked by Sol Brodsky, colored by Stan Goldberg, and lettered by Artie Smek. The cover shows a submariner running off into the ocean, kidnapping Sue Storm, which I guess in a way does almost happen, just not as blunt as the cover shows. This issue starts with the Fantastic Four, well, as the Fantastic Three. Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, has flown off after not feeling appreciated by everyone at the end of the last issue. The rest of the team decide to leave in their Fantastic Car to go and find him. The Invisible Woman, Sue Storm, mentions how this is the first time they took the Fantastic Car, just the three of them, but like, why would the Human Torch ever really need that when he can fly? It's not a big deal. They used the car twice last issue, and in last issue it was the car's first appearance. I also want to remind people that the argument that led the Torch to leave the team was across almost the entire last half of the last issue. Well, Johnny right now is in the Bowery, in I think a homeless shelter, and finds an old comic about the Submariner. One guy in the building tells Storm that there's a man here as strong as the Submariner, and when the guy refuses to rip a phone book in two, a fight is picked and the bearded quiet man throws three guys off of him with ease. Suddenly, Johnny Storm recognizes the man and uses some heat on him to trim off his beard. It's revealed that the man is secretly Namor the Submariner. The Human Torch sneaks outside and flies the guy over to the sea and drops him in to see if he really is Namor the Submariner. After a few minutes, Submariner comes back to the Human Torch and tells him that his memory has returned and he will take revenge on Adias for his undersea kingdom on the surface world. So, this is Submariner's first Silver Age appearance. His last appearance was in Submariner Comics issue 42, which came out July 1955, cover date October 1955. At the end of that issue, Submariner just leaves after defeating some crooks trying to escape a prison boat. There is nothing about him ignoring the surface world and crime fighting. I don't know if Marvel Comics have ever explained what happened in the 8 years between appearances. Like, how did Namor end up in that bar with amnesia? Anyway, at this moment in the Marvel Universe, it was just the Fantastic Four going on adventures. Actually, the last issue for them, issue 3, was when they really became a superhero team, with costumes and going out of their way to save people and help out. There are comic books in the Marvel Universe that tell about Namor the Submariner's World War II fights. That's how Johnny first gets to thinking about Submariner. I really like how Stan Lee and Jack Kirby had their comic characters enjoy reading comics, or they were just later put in the comics in the hero's world. Oh, and one thing I really want to mention is, Namor never calls his home Atlantis or himself an Atlantean specifically. Yeah, him being like Marvel's Aquaman, it's strange that stuff was not mentioned outside of radioactive tests in the water accidentally destroying Namor's old home. That's all we get for Namor's history, and, his species, so to speak. The test that destroyed Namor's old home caused his people to flee and find another place to stay. Maybe the comics, they didn't mention it yet because of a comparison to Aquaman. There's a sea monster Namor uses to attack Manhattan named Giganto, who looks like a big whale on legs. When Giganto 2, emerges, he destroys the boat, but not on purpose. He just didn't notice that it was there because he was so big. And then the boat crew calls the shore, and they all actually believe them, even though the FF this time are the only, about 90% known, super characters. And yes, the giant green monster that was on the cover of Fantastic Four issue 1, Mole Man's monster, is also named Giganto, so I'm calling this monster Giganto 2. I guess they overlooked another monster that was named that 3 issues ago. To stop the monster, the thing straps a nuclear bomb to himself and walks inside the monster through its mouth when it's sleeping. The thing places the nuke in after fighting an underwater monster that the creature swallowed whole and escapes, caught right outside the explosion being blasted away. Throughout the issue, the Fantastic Four seem to just do what they want to with random civilians. Like here when Johnny Storm just picks up the stranger, flies him to the ocean, and just drops him into it to find out if he really is the Submariner. Also, you can see how the Torch's hands aren't on fire when he's carrying Namor, as to not burn him, a cool detail they have here. There is a moment where Mr. Fantastic lifts a guy up off his motorcycle when he's riding past him to ask him if he's seen where the Human Torch may have gone. It seems like Mr. Fantastic here kind of does what he wants and bothers some guy just minding his day. Luckily, the guy was amazed that he met Mr. Fantastic. Also, the thing smashes through a garage and throws a car like it's just a normal, okay thing to do. And yeah, the thing here kind of looks way more like he actually does look way more like a monster than he does in his future appearances. So, as of this issue, the Fantastic Four are still widely unbelieved to exist. Every stranger they talk to in Manhattan say they can't believe the Four are real. This being issue 5 of the main Marvel Universe, okay. But later in the story, a general says that the report of a giant sea monster isn't impossible anymore, so I guess just authorities know and pay close attention to this superhero stuff, which really is just the FF, since the Ant-Man story in Tales to Astonish 27 was only involving Hank Pym himself. I actually kind of like the idea of authorities already keeping an eye on Reed Richards and his team. I mean, they did steal a rocket in their first story. It also fits with this story having a reintroduction to a previous superhuman, Namor, a figure from the past. Let's talk about the Invisible Woman in the story, Sue Storm. She can turn completely invisible, and that's it, until Namor wants to make her his bride. She actually surprises Namor in a sort of one moment when she takes his horn that he was using to control Giganto too. I was really surprised that her and Namor's relationship started way back in this story. For the time the first two see each other, literally, he sees her and exclaims she's the loveliest human he's ever seen, and he will show mercy to the surface world if she agrees to become his bride. She almost says yes. If it wasn't for the rest of the FF, she was almost given nothing to do. She couldn't even find her own brother, even though in one panel, and I know it was done for humor, he was right behind her. I guess at this moment, her and her brother are literally the only blood family here. She's not married to Reed Richards yet. The only blood family in the Fantastic Four, actually forever, are Sue and Johnny Storm. At the end, the Human Torch goes Super Saiyan and creates a vortex to not only knock Namor unconscious, but also lift him and Giganto 2 off the ground and back into the ocean. Wowzers, from issue 4, the Torch has been that strong. This move reminds me of the Human Torch going supernova at the end of the 2005 Fantastic Four movie. Before the video starts to close, I really love the Fantastic Four. I may seem critical and picky in this video, but it's because I love talking about the team. Some positive things about the issue is every now and then a funny line will be said, mostly by The Thing, like here after he nuked Giganto, too. And the four coming together to save the world in the public eye for the first time was in this story. And I do really like how this is happening while Namor re-emerges from the past. Throughout this issue, it teases the Incredible Hulk's very first appearance. That comic released in March, but Hulk issue 1 also had a cover date of May 1962. I like how the tease for the Hulk is on this page with the Thing body transformation, and yes, this looks mighty weird to a lot of you, the Thing changing randomly back to Ben Grimm and then back into the Thing. Well, this happened in the early issues. I think this was the last time for a while though. The last time it wasn't given an explanation. It happens in this story when the Thing has caught up with the Torch and is angry he left the team, and maybe deep down is frustrated with himself because he was the guy whose fault it was that Johnny left in the first place. The two have a brothers always fighting relationship. Well, when he turns into Ben Grimm, he's so happy he just has the Torch fly off, but his rock skin returns to him and he kneels to the ground, depressed, defeated that he is a monster. These moments happening are almost like the universe just reminding Grimm that he's the most different person on the planet Earth, the most monstrous, at least from the outside. The Thing is my favorite member of the Fantastic Four because of ideas and psychology moments with the Thing, diving into his mind and thoughts like this. In the back of the comic, we get a pinup page of Mr. Fantastic stretching to the size or height of a skyscraper to stop a gunman about to fire a bullet at him. Now, it would seem like a close call for the hero, but Reed Richards is bulletproof, so it doesn't matter if he was shot at or not. There's no urgency in this picture, but I guess it's still a cool, fun drawing. Also, the buildings just stop in the background. Like, where did the rest of the city go? And here is the one page of letters we get in the back of this comic. This is the second letter page for the Fantastic Four ever. Most of these are just people praising the Fantastic Four for how different it is, like when the Thing criticized his new costume or how the team argues with each other a lot. Going back to what I said about Invisible Woman's powers at the time, someone mentions how in issue 2, when Sue holds a diamond when she's invisible, the diamond also turns invisible. Yeah, turning other objects invisible wasn't something she could do yet. Later she could. Maybe this letter planted that seed for that idea. One smart guy says, quote, "Big deal, you hit a win with a 4. Now what do you do for an encore?" And Stan Lee replies, "The Fantastic 5, 6, etc." It's kind of funny now because the Fantastic 5 technically have been a thing since like the 80s. I think, wasn't that the first issue of Marvel What If? Anyway. The very last letter we see has a fan say that Human Torch is their favorite character and they want a magazine all about him. Eventually that happens in Strange Tales issue 101. Also, one of these letters came from Mexico City, Mexico, outside the US. I just noticed that for these letter pages. I think that's kind of a cool detail, cool moment in time. Most of this comic is about searching for the Human Torch, actually, and the last quarter is about stopping the Submariner. Oh yeah, the horn that Namor uses here is called the Horn of Proteus, and it returns in future comics. It's not really lost forever, like it says at the end of the story. Honestly, the more I think about the concepts of this issue, the more and more I love it. Literally just after the FF officially become a superhero team, well, sort of, they have some trouble with the Human Torch, a figure, an old quote-unquote hero from the past shows up and seemingly goes rogue for revenge, forcing the Fantastic Four to come together just to survive an attack from someone stronger than they are right now. Of course, they didn't defeat Namor, they just got rid of him for a while. And, well, there's not much else I can say. I mean, the real only shocking thing with the art is, of course, how the Thing looks, and I forget what issue he gets to start looking more like how we know him nowadays. And a little side note, I have some trouble, like, putting my thoughts out on a page or on a script for me to read, so I really hope the concepts and things I really liked about this story translated well in this video. And that's all I have to say about this comic, so thank you all for watching, and have a great day.